Wisconsin Stout, as well as John Adams, WPI in Worcester. This should be fun.
They're in the starting lineup today. Remember how close this game was between these two teams last year down in Charleston. BC winning 75-71 in a game that they had to come back late in that game after the Citadel held the lead into the second half. Here is John Adams, the senior from Douglas Max. He hands it off. Adebisi inside, gets the runner. Shola Adebisi, the junior who came in as a transfer from Florida State. One-time scout team player for the women's team, one-time walk-on, but earned his way into the rotation, and now he gets to start at the D1 level at the Citadel here in a junior season.
He brings some Division I size at 6'6", 205 from Alpharetta, Georgia. Graduated from FSU with a computer science degree.
Yep.
Adebisi's someone who's motivated with a chance to crack this rotation under Ed Conroy.
Talk a little bit about this new look Eagles team. Elijah Strong's one of the returners, as is Donald Hand Jr., who's out there with Chaz Kelly. Chad Venning is in the starting lineup, the grad transfer from St. Bonaventure. Venning kicks to the corner. Donald Hand Jr.'s three no good. Strong got a piece of the rebound, but it's down to Cameron Glover, the senior who came in from Division II. 14 new players on this roster for the Citadel. Boston College, plenty of new guys as well, though there's a lot of experience in college, just obviously with a new look here. There's the three that's in and out from Cam Glover.
You mentioned BC having changes, 5 transfers in the starting five for the Citadel. The new era.
That's it, absolutely right. Team's actually getting older, just different looking. It's that pass inside, whistle going the other way.
The beauty of it, though, is now we've arrived at that first Monday in November.
That's right.
The ball's been tipped, and now you're trying to build something from within across the bench.
Here's some of the key transfers in for the Citadel this year. We talked about Adebisi, the junior. He's the one that really stands out. Paxton Davidson as well, who comes in from Lipscomb. 14 games last year after redshirting as a freshman.
In 10 in the blue, Brody Fox averaged 27 a game in Division III. Excited to watch him play.
Glover thought about it, instead passes it up. Here's Fox inside. Fox got it. Brody Fox, who scored 719 points last year. That was the second most of anyone at any level a season ago. Playing for Wisconsin Stout, as you mentioned, in Division III. 4-0 the Citadel early. Here's Venning, his first opportunity. Right hand, no good. Fox got a piece of the rebound. Out of bounds, it will stay here.
Brody Fox, he's a bucket coming to the Citadel. A Division I opportunity. Coach Conroy says he checks all the boxes. He can go get a basket inside, outside. And just watching him there, the chippiness on the glass.
2 for Hand is no good. Strong with a rebound and got it. Sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina, Elijah Strong averaged 2.5 points a game in 7 minutes last year. Most notably had that performance against Clemson where he scored a career-high 14 points in 26 minutes on a day where a ton of the Boston College team was out due to some sickness, and he had to start and played really well for Earl Grant. Fox against Kelly, right back there. Nice, trying to get the entrance inside. It was knocked away by BC. They were really good at turning the basketball over last year. They've done that through Earl Grant's tenure. Here's Strong inside, good take, and 4 points for Elijah Strong.
Well, Strong is displaying what he has in his bag. Energy player for Earl Grant. Also has the ability to step behind the line. It's required these days of a forward. You better have that ability to play at every level.
Nice little give and go, and John Adams has his first 2. The Citadel back up by 2.
It's a cool night for John Adams. Douglas, Mass native, played at WPI in Worcester. Averaged a career double-double in 3 years at WPI. Shoots the ball at a high percentage, 55%. Same with Fox, 53%. I don't care what level, that's really solid.
First chance for Roger McFarland, the grad student, is off the mark. Coming in from southeastern Louisiana, where he was an all-league second team last year.
Elijah Strong taking it to the rack off the dribble. Citadel caught off balance, and he's already engaging with this crowd that is on top of us here at Conti Forum. They are all jazzed up for college hoops to be back.
He mentioned it last year. He said, love to shout, love to get excited, loves to feed off the energy of the crowd. Elijah Strong going to have more minutes this year for Boston College.
That's important, too. He's a sophomore, so trying to find his footing early in his career, and I'm sure Earl Grant preaches that to some of the young guys, trying to establish culture in year 4. And that's an overused word, we realize that, but Strong actually displaying it.
Three-pointer from Davidson, no good. A lot of threes up so far in this game. Not much doing. Here's Beadle, who's in for the first time. Josh Beadle tried to get inside for Jaden Hastings, making his Boston College debut after redshirting last year. Beadle's a transfer from Clemson, where he was a key bench piece of that team that went to the Elite 8 last year. Here's Dion Brown, also just in, and Brown says hello to Chestnut Hill. The transfer from UMBC was a first-team All-America East selection last year, averaging 19 points per contest. They have really high hopes for him this season.
If he can shoot it like that off the catch, that mask isn't going anywhere.
Adams couldn't get it through on the pass. Donald Hand Jr. out front and could not finish. Heavy foul there from Shola Adebisi, which sends us to a timeout. Dion Brown, the great Barrington, Massachusetts native, back home in his first game with the Eagles, knocks down the triple. Seven-6 lead for Boston College, thanks to the three-pointer from Dion Brown, his first points as an Eagle. As we said, first-team All-America East last year. He averaged 19 points a game. That went up in conference play to nearly 21.5 per game. Almost averaged a double-double in conference last year.
Jim Ferry's built a terrific program down in Baltimore. UMBC always in the discussion in the America East. And for Dion Brown, a chance to come home. Earl Grant I'm sure sold him on that possibility and getting immediate playing time off the bench today. A sharpshooter from behind the line at 35%. But yeah, this team needs scoring, right? Brown's an impact player. Chad Venning coming over from, say, Bonaventure. Roger McFarland. I think this year in Chestnut Hill, we're going to see some different leading scores.
2 free throws for Donald Hand. We mentioned the percentage off the top. 88% of the scoring from last year has departed for Boston College. The other way to look at it, it's 65 points per game, which has left the facility over the last year. Again, it's something a lot of teams are dealing with in college basketball. You look at someone like Brown, come in and fill that role. There's a three-pointer, no good, from Keenan Davis, the sophomore from Chicago, and then a reach-in foul at the back.
Well, at least Brown covers about a third of it. McFarland 15 a game, Venning 13 a game. Of course, all at different levels in different conferences. And Earl Grant looking for a finish better than 10th place in the ACC. But that's what non-conference play is for, to figure it out, get your rotation set, how to mix up your patterns substitution-wise, and what mix works best. And you got to give Brown some credit. I'm sure he was angst to start today, but coming off the bench and fitting in seamlessly.
That foul on Paxton Davidson, the prior one on Colby McAllister, the junior. Josh Beadle, who comes in from Clemson. That's the thing with these transfers. When you look at someone like Beadle, 66th career game tonight. McFarland, 92nd career game tonight. So Brown, 55th career game. Venning, 108th tonight. So, as we said, it's not necessarily experience here together, but it certainly is a level of experience. Brown, no good from 3.
Can't be overstated, experience, especially when you work into a Power 5 league like the ACC. And the best part about the portal is you've got to prove yourself when you make that next stop.
Cam Roberts inside against 2 defenders, and he draws the foul. This is a big roster for the Citadel. 21 different players, as we said. 14 of them are new. That's bigger than some rosters that you'll see at the Division I level. So a lot of options of guys to play and rotate early on in the season for Ed Conroy, who's an alum of the Citadel, 1989.
They got a lot of size on this team, too. You look at it, half a dozen players, at least 6'6", including Cam Roberts.
You saw kind of the splits as the year went on last year. They started really effectively. Part of that was the game against Boston College that we talked about, and then just kind of tailed off as the year went on. Just 3-16 after January 1st. A lot of injuries started to add into the equation last year. So 1 of 2 at the line for Roberts. It's a 9-7 game. Nice pass, Chaz Kelly. And it is start at the point. One of the returners from last year. Strong lost the handle. Got it back though. And 6 early points for Elijah Strong.
Just going to mention that they have to get back to Strong. He's been their guy as far as the inside presence, and that time just to sprinkle from outside the paint. It's a 3-guard look right now for Earl Grant with Kelly, Brown, as well as Beadle out there. So that's an interesting pattern.
Roberts on the bounce pass for Glover. Beadle defending him. Glover trying to get inside. No good on the floater. And there was a foul on the rebound, so a foul on Boston College. It'll stay here.
Doesn't hurt to have Hastings out there at 6'9", 240. Elijah Strong, 6'8", 235. Fall away, Jay. Stay composed. And while off balance, very much in control in the early part of this game, Elijah Strong. They had gone away from him just a bit, but with that early success, as you highlighted, wouldn't be surprised he draws a couple double teams.
Just a little bit of a drought here. More than 3 minutes without a field goal make for the Citadel. Brody Fox swings for Glover. Here's Davis against Brown. To the corner for Glover. With 5 on the timer, his 3 is no good. Rebound's available, and it's grabbed by McAllister. Fresh possession here. Brody Fox. That was way off. Wow.
They're
another
pursuing.
Chance. Couple of offensive rebounds on this sequence. Fox trying again, gets the basket, and a foul is called there. Chaz Kelly defending against Fox.
Looked like a lot of ball. Chaz Kelly may have just created a meme for himself, his reaction turning to the official.
This is much more Fox's game. As many points as he scored last year, most notably, he really didn't take many threes. And that was Chaz's thoughts.
See, that's meme material, I think.
And that's 2, by the way, in this short sequence on Chaz Kelly.
That's what great scorers do, like Fox. You put the pressure on the officials in the dirty areas, to use a hockey analogy, in the paint, hanging around the block, and he's a slasher, like you said, not much of an outside threat. That's why he shot the ball so well in his final year at Wisconsin Stout, 53%.
So some free throws are keeping the Citadel in it despite not having a basket over 4 minutes of game time. Luka Taves is in the game for the first time now for Boston College. Already deep down the card both ways, right? There's Hastings inside. First points for Jaden Hastings.
Whew. There's that motor, the wingspan out of the highly prestigious IMG Academy. Oh, they were late to get back on defense, not set.
Keenan Davis, the sophomore, matches 13-11. The Eagles have made 5 of their last 7 from the floor, 5 for 10 overall in this first half. On opening night here from Chestnut Hill, 13-11. These two played a 4-point game last year. Beadle tried to get into the corner for Taves, wasn't there. And the Citadel on the run for the first time. Another 3-point chance. It's Davis, it's long, and Hastings has the rebound. He's the tallest guy on the floor right now by quite a bit.
8 of the 13 points for BC inside the paint and at the free throw line. That's due in part to Hastings as well as Strong.
That was a factor last year. Here's Brown on the turnaround, is good. 5 early for Dion Brown. In the game last year, BC outscored the Citadel 50-28 in the paint. Huge factor in the Eagles coming from behind to win that game. 4-point game here. A lot of shots from Davis recently. He goes inside this time for John Adams. Lefty hook is in and out. Pretty good luck from Adams.
It's a tall task for Adams tonight on both ends of the floor. He's going to use a lot of energy defensively. He's got to guard Hastings on this end and then try to go against him offensively on the other end. That is a tall task.
And an offensive foul with 10:49 remaining in this first half. Jaden Hastings missed all of last season due to a red shirt. Former 4-star recruit, hoping to soar to big heights in Conti.
Okay.
4-point lead for Boston College. So far today, they've not really relied upon the 3-point shot. It's going to be interesting to see how that evolves this season. You look at the numbers last year, their distribution, their total points from 2, 3, and free throws, obviously. They made a ton of threes last year, nearly 300 of them. That was second most in program history.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch how the game has changed with the 3-point shot. Emphasis on spacing, all 5 players on the floor being a threat. We've witnessed so far in this game. Granted, there's a size differential with BC's bigs. They have an opportunity to flourish inside, but no doubt, you get to league play when some of the top-tier programs in the ACC in the country, you got to be able to shoot the 3. And we mentioned Dion Brown. He's going to be a key cog in that. 35% last year at UMBC. Should bring some punch from behind the line this season.
Worth noting, that was the 6th-team foul on Boston College here. 10:37 remaining in the first half. Taves got called for one right before we went to timeout. And then that last one on Donald Hand, but the Eagles take the ball away. So no harm, no foul for the moment. And it's Strong, steps into a 3. What a start for Elijah Strong. 9 points for the sophomore.
Well, as a threat, with the ball in his hands. He's demonstrated today that he can drive to the basket and throw the defense off the dribble. That's what allows you to take the three.
Davidson falling away. Nice look for Paxton Davidson. The Lipscomb transfer. Averaged about 7 minutes a game last year after redshirting as a freshman. McFarland back in. Taves is out there as well. Here's Donald Hand for three, and that's in and out.
Citadel in zone, daring BC to shoot from behind the line. And of course, Strong made them pay last trip. But credit to the Citadel in BC. While you're excited opening night, you got to get back on the defensive end. That's happened a couple times now where they're unsettled defensively. And you mentioned it, Brody Fox, he can get it done inside. We got ourselves only a 3-point game.
6 points for Fox in this first half. BC shooting 54%, the Citadel 43%. Here's Hand, steps into a three and got it.
Darium. Get to the nail, kick it back out, inside, outside to open up the shooter, Donald Hand, who's dynamic, scoring the rock from Virginia Beach.
He was a 34% three-point shooter last year, his first full season with the Eagles, after he was injured early in game 2 of his freshman year and had to sit out the season. Fox again inside, that rolls off, and Adams with a wild tip. It looked like Moore's foot was on the line, but they say it stayed on this side of the timeline. And Adams will get another chance inside. Deep three for Davidson. Probably a tough look after all that.
You got to admire Adams doing anything he can to get a reset.
McFarland inside, spinning, turning, off the mark. Rebound, Venning, and he's fouled.
Well,
so we mentioned the three-pointers, right? Here we go.
Yeah, we just came out of the commercial break. BC really hasn't been using the three. Citadel in zone, work the ball, find your open shooter, and of course the hardest part is knocking him down. And that was a good look for Hand, the sophomore. Take what the defense gives you.
Did you hear Bank?
Did someone call Bank? Guess it is a Monday.
I know. First point for Chad Venning. Second team all A10 last year for St. Bonaventure. He led the team in points, 13.5, and blocks, 1.7 per game. Solid rebounder through the years, especially on the offensive glass. Not that you're ever gonna just replace Quint Post, obviously, but just in terms of position, right? Venning's kind of that guy as the bigs. More traditional big, not gonna step out and shoot the three nearly as much, obviously, as Post did.
Well, he just validated the Bank free throw because that was clean, that second one.
Three-pointer, Glover got it. Cameron Glover, who's taken a couple of those so far, his first points.
Ed Conroy loves this kid. Division II transfer, priority for the program in the early part of the spring. Great story, perseverance from D2 Montevallo.
Strong thought about it, instead gets inside for McFarland. That was blocked. Good effort from Cam Roberts coming in from behind. Kind of held right about here. 5 points, Citadel's cut it down a few times. That's a three that's no good. Colby McAllister trying to cut the lead to 2. Citadel is 1 for 9, excuse me, now from behind the arc.
I think playing through Strong right now is working for BC. A lot of confidence.
There he is, Strong, got it. But it was waved off. They say he stepped out of bounds before the shot. He's feeling it though. 7:14 to go in the first half. Strong leads the Eagles with 9. BC up by 5.
Probably very similar to Chaz, waking up to a bug in my face because, like, why is there a bug in my bed? So, you know, that would be kind of frightening in a sense. So, yeah.
Well, now that's my biggest fear as well. Why is that even, like, coming up in the thought process?
But of all things to be terrified by, that's your answer? I'm a little underwhelmed by that.
I mean, I'm not feeling great about it right now after that.
Not to mention a kid with the last name Strong. But he's had a tremendous start to this game. 9 points, great energy guy.
And we will learn plenty more about some of these Boston College Eagles coming up at halftime. Stay with us. This opening game of the year, a couple of shots off the mark, and then a foul on the rebound attempt.
Yeah, if you want to nitpick Boston College in the first half, they're allowing way too many offensive rebounds. It's now 5 for the Citadel. Their perseverance under Ed Conroy, and something Earl Grant, I'm sure, will be picking apart. It is game 1.
Been good on the offensive rebound. It's sort of been canceled out by the fact that they just have not been great from behind the arc. Just 1 for 10 so far, and that's led to only 2 second chance points.
Exactly right.
And there's turnover out front. Davis to the trail man. Davidson is again off the mark from 3.
And a 1 for 10, the Citadel from behind the line. That was probably their best look, though, of the night.
Here's Strong. Stepped on the line out of bounds in the last 3-point attempt. That one clean, but strong. And back on the run goes Davidson.
Well, Venning gave him good minutes. Now Hastings is back in there.
That'll be interesting to see how those two play together as kind of the main big in the Boston College rotation. Venning, obviously the veteran, the grad transfer from St. Bonaventure, a couple of years at Morgan State as well. And then Hastings, who's brand new after redshirting last year at 6'9".
This is one of the few returners for the Citadel. Kenyon Davis started 18 games last year for the Citadel. As far as impact role players, 5 new starters this year, all transfers. Well, this has felt, these first 14 minutes, it's felt like a science project for Earl Grant, just getting the different patterns, right? You mentioned it, we're going to say it a lot tonight, 88% of your scoring, 65-ish points per game missing from last year's team.
1 of 2 at the line for Davis. Well, that's what you'd hope for, right? In a game like this for Boston College, to be able to play as many different rotations and combinations as you try to figure it out early in the season. It's not like a smooth runway here. You're going to play the A10 preseason first place team VCU coming up on Friday in Annapolis. And then back home for Temple a week from Friday. So not an easy start here for Earl Grant and company. Brody Fox back in for the Citadel along with Christian Moore. Last foul on John Adams, his second.
Yeah, interesting substitution pattern, right? We came out of the media timeout. Venning's right back in there.
He missed the front end of the free throw.
Only a 4-point game. It feels BC has outplayed the Bulldogs mightily.
Well, if one of these threes go down, it could totally change things, but it just has not. 1 for 12 now for the Bulldogs from behind the arc. Here's McFarland. Both teams are in the bonus as well as we play with 5:36 remaining first half. Donald Hand drives, stops, turns, trying to get it to Venning. Maybe one extra movement there. Got stuck in the paint. And the Citadel back on the run. Here's Fox. Got a size advantage there against Brown. Hands it off. Cycled around for Davidson. Now here's Glover. The lefty slashes and got it. Nice move by Cameron Glover. He has 5 points. It's a 2-point game.
Really nice move by Glover. Putting the defense on skates. Was really invisible in the first 10 minutes of this game, and now has a couple buckets streaming to the basket.
3-pointer for Hand is no good, and the Eagles have not scored in 3.5 minutes. It's a 6-0 run for the Citadel. Stays there for the moment, and Fox could not get around Venning. And possession going the other way.
Cam Glover, 16 points a game last year at Division II Montevallo. And just no help defense there by the Eagles. Well, in comes Venning at the very last moment. So Glover with the perseverance to finish at 6 feet over Venning, who's listed at 6'9".
So the offense has really just gone quiet here besides that one make. That's the only make for the Citadel of their last 7. The Eagles, 340 of a scoring drought right now.
Wow.
Beadle on the drive. Left hand, nicely done. Josh Beadle to stop the run. The grad student from Clemson. He has 2 seasons of eligibility left as he comes into play for Earl Grant this year, South Carolina native.
It's been a roller coaster of offensive patterns for BC. We've seen them use the 2 thanks to Strong close to the basket. Then they went on a stretch where the Citadel ran zone, knocked down some 3s, and that time they're like, let's just go get one.
Block shot from Venning after Moore drove right through the Boston College defense. And Beadle, the trail man for 3. That was way off. And a foul. That's a bad one on Brown. And out of bounds with 3:59 remaining in the first. Both teams are in the bonus, so the Citadel will shoot when you come back in a 4-point game. Well, the one thing that Chad Venning has proved he can do in his time in college basketball is block shots. And he got another one in here right there. He was top 40 nationally, according to Ken Palm, with a block rate of 8.5% last year for St. Bonaventure. So that could be a real asset for him coming in as a grad transfer.
And enforcer, 6'9", 270 from Brooklyn. Boston College with a handful of transfers and new players, and they got to lock it down better tonight. Just 14, pardon me, they've allowed 14 Citadel points in the paint of their 21 total.
There's so many different things you look at in this game that one team could be a little bit closer, one team maybe should be a little bit farther out, but Citadel hasn't been able to make their threes or their free throws now, just 4 of 7 from the line. Eagles have added a couple of turnovers here. There's a traveling violation that sends things the other way. So some of that first game stuff that you might expect with teams that, again, are so due playing together.
Yeah, there are jitters, and again, you've only played against each other to this point in the year. I know that they do the closed scrimmages and exhibitions, but when it counts for real, you've got students packing the lower sections of the arena. And you play with new guys and you're not as connected. Makes sense.
You were even a little late to box out during the shirt toss there. Right in the action here.
These guys and gals are right on top of us here. It's been a while since I've been here with you at BC.
Out of BC, lost the handle.
They're all gassed up.
Here is Fred Payne, first action of the day. He missed the three. Payne, who played 5 games last year before he ended up redshirting after a knee injury in that game against Central Connecticut on December 5th. A little over 4.5 minutes per game in the games that he did play. So another guy that, again, it's not new to the program, but new in terms of the potential rotation that Earl Grant is working through this year.
Hey, and on the other side, the Citadel only has 1 returning player from their team last year on the floor, in Kenyon Davis. So he's playing with 4 new teammates.
These 2 teams are combined 2 of their last 15 from the floor. 2:46 remaining here in the first half. Brody Fox gives it up. Roberts driving, right hand, good. Cam Roberts does well off the window, and the Citadel once again within 2.
16 points in the paint. Some of those have been cherry-picked plays off of makes, not getting back, but gonna figure that out at half.
Beadle, oh man, it was wide open, and he takes the Euro step. Josh Beadle with 4 points. His first game as an Eagle.
Even Beadle with that stutter step, he looked surprised how open he was.
At about 11 minutes a game last year for Clemson on that Elite 8 team. Out of bounds there. First time Clemson made the Elite 8 in 44 seasons last year under Brad Brownell.
Beadle's like, whoa, they're gonna give me that much room, and just late rotation there by BC. That's the other thing too. I think defensively, offensively knowing where each other has to be, and that same sentiment on the defensive end, being connected. We hear coaches say a lot, talk on defense, talk on defense. Well, if you don't know each other's terminology all quite yet, you're not on the same page that time. And BC just made up for it.
What an amazing story it is. I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier. He got to Florida State, played on the practice squad for the women's team, ended up walking on the last 2 years, played 15 games total. Comes from a really impressive family. His parents immigrated to the United States from Nigeria in 1995. He has 2 brothers who are in the medical field. He, as you said, already earned his degree in computer science at Florida State, and still with a couple of years of eligibility left, as he now plays for the Citadel in a real rotation here in a big-time role.
Yeah, he's making the most of it, that's for sure. And he plays bigger than 6'6", 205. That's evident. They're expecting big things from him in their front court on both ends. All it takes is an opportunity, and that's why the portal and you know, folks, it can give folks a headache or popsicle headaches about all the movement, but these young men and women, and the women's side as well, an opportunity to get a chance, and he's a great example of that.
We're going to chat with both coaches, as well as talk to the Boston College men's basketball team. Some superlatives, some fears.
Yeah, we've got to hear
maybe
more
some
about
insects.
Anyone else afraid of bugs on this team?
It's all coming up in the half. There's Venning! Oh, my! Chad Venning. That's the 2nd time in a row the Red Sea kind of just parted, and the Eagles took advantage. Back up 4.
I don't know if I blame the Citadel there. How would he get out of the way, too, with that locomotive coming down the lane? Now he's dug in defensively.
So we've held between a 2- and 4-point game for a while. There's a steal by Beadle. Lob for McFarland. It was a little bit short, but he managed to catch it, find a bucket, and the Eagles are out to a 6-point lead with 1:02 to go in the first. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. BC up by 6 in the opener. So Boston College back-to-back buckets, and it brings some energy to this Conti Forum crowd.
Chad Venning. Citadel said, yeah, we're good, we'll let you dunk that. And then running the break. Hard to come by some easy baskets, but McFarland getting up top, backdoor around the defense. And even after the Venning dunk, you could see the spark on the defensive end of the floor. Even Venning was up there defending the guards. There was a little bit more dug-in defense, and now, of course, you got some ball pressure here from Beadle. So we've yet to see either team go on a monstrous run. Maybe it's now in the final minute of the first half.
Chance for some momentum into the locker room. 10 to shoot for the Citadel. The BC gives it off. Davis, whistle before he drove. And a 3-second call. Or beg your pardon, they called that on Adebisi's second foul.
You know, and even after all that, for Coach Conroy, you're only down 6. Those two explosive plays for Boston College around the basket. The roof was coming off like it was a 20-point game. You're hanging in there.
Right, you got to feel like if you're the Citadel here, this possession is about limiting that momentum going in.
Sure.
And for Boston College, it's trying to take even more of it.
Yeah, stop here, you hold for the final shot, you're down 2 possessions.
Venning a huge advantage inside, but a foul before he went up with the shot.
Bulldogs were basically giving him a hug.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a size advantage here, 6'9" against 6'6".
We talked a lot about his defense, rightfully so. Second team in the A-10 last year. As we know, the A-10 has been pumping out fantastic young players and even some older guys. It's become a league that's very dangerous come March. Every year I look at the A-10 and say, I don't know who's going to win this conference. Yeah. Pick 5 or 6 teams every year. But to make the second team, that's impressive.
He's got 2 free throws. It's a 6-0 run. There was a little tie-up underneath. And
looks like Davidson wants him to wipe the floor. It was a wet spot. He was looking at the official like, I don't want to keep playing, so no one slips and falls.
Well, Earl Grant's got to be really happy with what he's seen over the last minute here. 6-0 run for Boston College. They've matched their game high, and they'll have a chance to add to it.
The defensive intensity has absolutely picked up in since the last media timeout for Boston College.
Earl Grant's going to call timeout, draw something up for this final sequence with BC up by 8. Let's go back to that turnover here as the Citadel kind of hanging on by a thread here a little bit at the end of the half, Brendan.
Credit to McFarland with the ball pressure to not make that entry pass very easy. And Ed Conroy, that's not frustration with the officials. He's frustrated with his guys not getting in the right spot.
Well, you said it, right? I mean, this was what, a 2-point game. Just felt like not that long ago they were really hanging in despite the fact the 3-point shots where it's been just 1 for 12. They've gotten offensive rebounds, but now you've allowed Boston College to kind of gain some of that momentum here.
Yeah, I think the other, got to give BC credit too. They've dug in defensively, and I think Venning's energy, Beadle with that personal 4-0 run. But yeah, they've put the Citadel in rotation. Now you get a chance to extend this lead.
Strong inside for Venning, 5 to shoot. He turns right hand, is good. 8 points in the first half for Chad Venning. And now, this is going back to BC.
Chad Venning, the bigs here for Boston College in game one. Given the energy, it was strong in the first 10 minutes, and really it's been Venning, the Venning show, the last 7-8 minutes. He had the slam, he had the lay, he's doing it on defense.
So now we've had 2 fouls in a row without the ball being inbounded. An offensive foul on Cameron Glover. And then I think they just got another one on Glover. So that's 2. That puts Boston College into the double bonus. So it's an 8-0 run here at the end of the half, plus Beadle at the line adds 1 to it. And boy, is this game going to have a different feel going into halftime from what we saw the first 18 and a half minutes.
Ed Conroy is livid. Ed, pardon me, Earl Grant's probably thinking, where's this defensive intensity been for the first hour of this game? 10-0 run now for BC.
7 seconds as he wallies in for the first time. Got to get it up with 2 on the timer. He hit it! Well, how about that last 90 seconds?
Opener, as long as he's open to whatever it takes to win games, these other big guys are going to love playing with him.
Here's Chad Venning, opportunity, got it. So we've certainly seen an adjustment, because you saw it when BC called a timeout late in the first half. Where did they go? 32. First play out of this second half, where are they going? 32.
I believe it was the under 8 media timeout too, where we saw Jaden Hastings out there, and then quick hook, they went right back to Venning.
They picked up that second foul, and Venning's been taking advantage of the opportunity ever since. 5 to shoot. 3-pointer no good. That's his big story here too, right? The Citadel, just 2 3-pointers on 13 attempts. Another chance for one. Davidson steps in. He missed that one. You had the one make by Glover and then the half-court shot. Oh, nice look. What a great pass. And Roger McFarland has 4 points in his first game as an Eagle.
Strong, doing it all. Playmaking, scoring in close, made a 3 in the first half. Free-flowing, but in control offense.
That was a pretty good design there on the give and go, but then it was just thrown away by Davidson. Too strong for John Adams. Look at this.
Nice cut, too. Must be an adjustment. I mean, look, they've had no problem, just like the Citadel, scoring in the paint, but for McFarland, recognized the coverage, and that's chemistry that will continue to grow for the course of the season.
And there's McFarland, and a quick timeout by Ed Conroy. Boston College continues the momentum at the end of the first half, and a good start here to the second. They're up 43-28 on the Citadel. It's been really cool how it's kind of been created as a true start of college basketball. It feels like just about everybody's starting today, gets everybody excited early in the season. And here's the run since the minute 44 mark of the first half. 16-3 for Boston College. They've made all 6 of their shots from the floor, and the Citadel has turned it over 5 times in the process.
6 of 6 in high percentage looks, dunks, layups, backdoor cutting, patience and getting more familiar with where each other is on the floor.
Adams hands off for Davis. Davidson now for 3 with just 2 on the timer, and he can't find it.
He's come close now 3 or 4 times.
Definitely not for lack of quality looks. Donald Hands goes back to his right and is blocked. It's the second clean block by Adebisi.
Adebisi, it listed at 6'6". He plays bigger than that. Interior presence. And he read every step of Hands' move. By the way, you weren't kidding about the number of games today.
Yeah.
Requires a lot of scrolling to check the scores in college basketball.
I think it started at 11 a.m. this morning and just rolling right through. Here's Donald Hand. That's a nice spin, but he couldn't finish. He knew it too. Really good effort.
I mean, you probably put today as second best behind, the month of March, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, busy day in the ACC. Cooper Flagg made his debut.
Whoa.
Duke beat Maine. Cooper Flagg finished with 18 points, 7 boards, 5 assists.
It's got to be a special start for him playing Maine in his first game.
Very much so.
So after the turnover, again, just a sloppy pass that goes out of bounds. Boston College has it back. Here's Venning, got around the double team, but then again couldn't finish. That's 2 in a row. Really nice moves by Boston College midway through the paint, but then just couldn't quite finish. This one, though, Venning is fouled. And the 3rd foul here against John Adams.
Well, Venning wishes he had this back, because despite the contact, he rises into a pretty clean look. There was definitely contact. He banked one in at the line, had a clean swish earlier.
That one was halfway down, but 2 missed at the line for Venning. 43-28. BC has all 6 points of this second half. Christian Moore to his right against Donald Hand.
Citadel just trying to get a high percentage look at the very least.
Feels like they've been forced deeper into the timer here recently. Another 3 that's off the mark. 2 for 17 from behind the arc tonight. Venning, nice spin move. Faked up once. Actually, I think he could have taken it if he had just gone on that first effort. Ended up having it stripped from him. And McAllister. That was well off.
A lot of nylon, just not the right way.
Nope.
And that was Adebisi again over here, being a pest defensively against Venning, playing out of his shoes.
Elijah's strong pull-up is no good. So we've seen both teams, as you talked about, kind of go through positive swings of momentum on the offensive end, and then, well, that's just not a good pass again. Well, sloppy here on opening night. And some mass substitutions here. Hastings, Brown, and Beadle all come back in. That's the same 3 that came in about this mark into the first half for Earl Grant. Cameron Glover is back in for the Citadel.
Adebisi's their biggest guy on the floor right now on the Citadel side. So let's see if they can get the other big fella going, Hastings.
Here's Dion Brown. Hasn't played a ton. Again, having to wear that mask today due to that nose injury. McFarland thought about it. Instead, just inside the arc, his pull-up is no good. Hand got a second effort couldn't finish at the rim. Got knocked down in the process. And the Bulldogs back to work. Davis for three. Again, not going in the Louvre tonight.
No, they're not shy, though. 2 of 18 from deep.
And taken away here by Fox.
This has been a sloppy couple minutes here by both teams.
Probably a fair description there, Brendan.
No other way to really mask it. 3 minutes plus now for Boston College without a basket. 0 for their last 6.
Here is Glover, spins inside, right hand, off but a foul.
And the Citadel is looking for its first points of the half. 43-28. Don't go anywhere.
That's his second personal foul, team's second foul. Media, time on the floor. Fans, as a reminder, if an opposing player misses 2 consecutive free throws tonight, you win a free Shack burger at Shake Shack. The next time an opposing player is at the line, we want to hear you. Shake Shack, stand for something good.
I meant ACC.
43-28 is our score. That's a nice throwback Vince Carter jersey. Take a look at the men's Star Watch in college basketball this year. You've already talked about Cooper Flagg a little bit, his debut with Duke. Those are his numbers last year coming in from high school as he joins that group. Some to watch for. A really good start for him today, Duke.
Cooper Flagg, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Little bit of everything. Took him a while to get that first basket, but threw the house down at Cameron Indoor. They're excited. And good for RJ Davis getting some preseason All-American attention. That should keep UNC very much in the mix, taking on Elon tonight at home.
A couple of free throws there for Cameron Glover. Felt like everybody needed kind of a reset there. It was almost kind of building on each other both ways, the sloppiness. There's Beadle to the basket. That was still in the cylinder. So no basket. As offensive goaltending called against Jaden Hastings. Definitely see the flashes, though, for Hastings. Again, he got 2 fouls in the first half, as we talked about, so hasn't played a ton yet. So that could be a pretty good combination with Venning inside.
He missed all of last year, so he redshirted, but the athleticism is present.
Oh boy, there's Fox. Found a lane, and Brody Fox has 8 points in his first Division I game.
Out of the foxhole.
He's kind of an interesting thing, right? Taking an elite scorer at a different level, right? Coming in from Division III, and see what happens at the Division I level. There's hand inside and a foul. That is a strong take.
Counter punch by Hand, taking matters into his own hands, driving to the basket. You deserve it. Flex on him here, and this was just, you mentioned the parting of the seas in the first half. Just miscommunication by Boston College defensively. Fox goes up top. A fourth-team All-American in Division III last year.
Most notably as a scorer, he scored a career-high 70 points, 7-0. A couple of seasons ago as a sophomore. He went 34 of 38 from the field in 21 minutes in a game at Greenville.
He really doesn't like shooting threes, does he?
Oh. Here's a three-pointer for Davis, and that's short. 2 of 20 from behind the arc.
You'd think at some point there'd be some positive regression for the Citadel, because they'd had some looks from deep. Now, would you say it was 2 for 20?
2 for 20 now. Hastings on the kick, Beadle extra pass. Hand on the drive, slips inside, crazy right hand. And he took a hard fall in the process after missing that shot, but was fouled.
And maybe one more swing pass there. There was an open shooter, Brown, in the corner. But Carey feeling himself, pardon me, Hand feeling himself a bit. Thanks to his previous play, laying it in. Good to see he's okay.
We mentioned Donald Hand, who basically missed his entire freshman season after that knee injury against Detroit in the second game of the year. Last year, 14.5 minutes, 5 points a game. It was 34% from behind the arc. Feels like he's the type of guy that when you make that jump, I know it's not officially his junior season, his third year, right? Redshirt sophomore season. There's some room to take a jump and have a pretty big impact on this Eagles team for Donald Hand.
He's one of a handful of guards on this team. They're super athletic. You can kind of get the feel watching Beadle and McFarland and even Chaz Kelly, who's a returner, that they're all kind of a similar blend. What kind of team they're trying to create here in Chestnut Hill.
It was tipped, so it'll stay here with the Citadel.
But even, you mentioned his numbers. Hand had 7 games last year with at least 10 points in a game.
The only returners for Boston College who averaged more than 7 minutes per game last year.
That's incredible.
But you've already seen the jump Strong is taken. Hastings, who was hurt last year. Fred Payne as well. Foul here with 5 on the timer. Third foul on Jaden Hastings.
Pardon me, Eric. Thank goodness now in today's climate of college basketball, thank goodness there's a non-conference slate, right? All the roster turnover.
Absolutely, you get that run up.
Well, back in our day when we were in school, we would get super, we would get so antsy for the premier matchups. Why don't they play one of these games in November? I know they do have some of the premier games. They got Baylor Gonzaga tonight, for example. That should be a great game to watch. I know they exist, but I'll tell you, you take the non-conference games, especially when your roster's so good.
The one thing it does do is it kind of heightens your focus in terms of, as a coaching staff, because all of these different rotation combinations matter, because you only have so much time to try all these different things out. So even in a game where maybe the score's out of reach, we're certainly not there yet in this game, but you're still trying different things. You're still looking at different rotations. And think about how deep both of these teams have gone. 5 guys off the bench today. Each has had 10 guys play at least 3 minutes. 9 guys each have played at least 7 minutes in this game. And there's Brody Fox again.
Yeah, they're like mini games within the game. Coaches talk about those media timeouts and how they want to win that next 5 minutes. The last 5 of the first half, which BC clearly won in the final 90 seconds, and then they took care of business to start this half. But we're still in a situation in this particular basketball game, 13, if the Citadel could knock down a couple threes, we're right back into a game. One of their threes was a half-court shot, we should mention, too. But if you're Earl Grant, you have to be thrilled that your team, what they have carried over is their defense, holding the Citadel to just 7 points in the first 7 minutes of the half.
Here's Beadle, left hand, and he is fouled. So the foul's certainly starting to add up a bit here. Glover was just called for his 3rd after Adams was called for his 4th.
We talked to Coach Grant as he went to the tunnel for halftime. He said we have to be a little more intentional to go to our big guys, but I think collectively they've been intentional on getting to the basket. Use their size to their advantage at the guard position, on the wing, and with their bigs. It's been mostly the guards now on the dribble drive to the basket. Make the Citadel have to reach, make some contact, head to the line and knock them down. BC is 80% at the line tonight.
Beadle has 8 points now. And another foul inside. Elijah Strong called for the push.
I don't care what level of college basketball it is. You don't average 27 a game if you're not drawing fouls. You got to be good at that. It's sometimes an art form. And watching Brody Fox for the first time up close, that's what good scorers do. They wipe the sweat off for him. He seemed okay with it.
It's almost hard to believe you could score as many points as he scored in this day and age without shooting the 3.
Yeah.
It was 265 made field goals last year, 719 points.
And he shot 53% from the floor.
A couple of free throws are good. Back to 13. The answer to the question, can a D3 scorer come up to Division I and score? Well, 12 points. His Division I debut for Fox. Here's Chaz Kelly, his floater, that was short. Hastings actually read it well, but it felt like him and Kelly both went for the ball at the same time. Ends up bouncing down to the Citadel. McAllister for Wally, who hit that half-court shot at the end of the first half. Davidson gives it for Fox. He drives. Fox turns. Double team is there. 8 to shoot. Needs help. Has Davidson. Now here's Roberts. Thought about the step back. Does on the toe drag. And hits. Cam Roberts with 5 points. And the Citadel is back within 11.
Acrobatic. What a shot. I thought he was going to fall over, but the extension to create separation.
Just kept that toe tap going. Somebody lost a shoe on the floor. Inside for Brown. He turned, shot no good. Hastings with an offensive rebound. He has a huge size advantage in there. Couldn't finish at the rim, but will go to the free throw line when we return. It was Elijah Strong who lost his shoe in the process. BC just one of their last 10 from the floor, and the Citadel has taken advantage. Roberts brings the Bulldogs back within 11. Learned that one this week. Jaden Hastings to the free throw line ends. you adapt. First game here for Boston College for Hastings, as we talked about, took a red shirt last season. Former 4-star recruit ranked by ESPN from IMG Academy. Boston College looking to find its offense once again. They missed 2 free throws again on this trip, but a good job. Deion Brown found the rebound after McAllister couldn't quite secure it. Who's that off? It's off of Boston College is the initial, but now referees come together. They'll say it was tipped, so it'll stay here with BC. So the Eagles get bailed out on that sequence.
I think there have been some contact with the shin of Fox.
Actually, it's the hand, looked like a McAllister there.
Okay, yeah. I thought maybe there was contact lower body with Fox. Tough break for the Citadel.
Good job to get that right in there, strong. So Earl Grant mentioned it. Let's be intentional about getting it to those guys. Well, BC needed a basket, just 1 for their last 10 from the floor. And Elijah Strong has 11 points.
And just his first bucket, second half.
Fox saw a lane once again. And this time he is fouled.
Boston College foul number 32, Chad Venning. That's his
First foul on Chad Venning tonight.
Once the Citadel gets to SoCon play, they're going to learn about Brody Fox. Complete handful, and I'm sure he's a frustrating guy to guard because he's very creative on his drives to the rim. He does something a little different, throws a wrinkle in, draws fouls. No one likes to foul. No one thinks they foul.
He's a Minnesota native. And the way that Ed Conroy found him, his brother Parker plays at Minnesota. And when Conroy was an assistant there, kind of found Parker, got to know the family a little bit. And now a couple of years later at the Citadel, Brody Fox was in the portal coming in from D3, and they found him. Here he is, Fox on the drive, and is fouled from behind.
He caught that ball at the three-point line and knew exactly what he wanted to do just before he caught it.
Third foul on Elijah Strong, by the way.
He's given Davidson that look from the half-court line. Give it to me. I know what I can do.
Looked like more of the lower body contact there than the attempt at the block that was called, and Fox is good from the free throw line.
Hey, they're chipping away. Yeah. This is to cut it to 10.
14 points now for Fox. 6 free throws. He's 6 for 8 from the free throw line. 14 points, leads all scorers tonight. Short on the second. So still at 11. Look at Taves back in there for Boston College, as is McFarland and Donald Hand. Skip inside for Venning. Back for Brown. He's open for 3, and a short flying rebound Hand, and he's fouled. And both teams now in the bonus with 10:07 remaining.
Pretty good look for Brown. And out of nowhere, the physicality of Hand has jumped out the second half, taking it to the rim, and he doesn't need to have the ball in his hands necessarily, driving to the basket to make a play around the hoop.
That last foul was the 3rd on McAllister. So the fouls are starting to become a little bit of an issue here. John Adams returns to the game with 4 fouls for the Citadel. Glover, McAllister, and Adebisi have 3. For Boston College, Hastings and Strong both have 3 fouls.
Well, good thing on the Citadel side is they have a huge bench. We were getting ready for the game. They were having scrimmages where they weren't entirely sure who would be in their main rotation. Handful of walk-ons, but they've got a lot of guys. And been the Brody Fox show, though, in the second half. On the bench now, thankfully for BC, has 8 of their 13 in the second half.
Adams in there playing with 4. Nice little pass on a give and go for Glover. 10 points for Cameron Glover, D2 transfer. So you had Adams coming in from D3, Glover in from D2. Those are your top 2 scorers for the Citadel tonight. And that's taken away by Davis. Brown on the back play, and he commits the foul on the block attempt as Davis can bring this inside 10.
Play before, Glover, creative, wheeling and dealing to the basket. Good patience by Davis there. And then this time he wants to go to the basket himself, and foul by Brown. I think Boston College is starting to get pretty frustrated with all these fouls getting called.
It's 3 on Brown, so he's the 3rd Eagle with 3 fouls. Strong is one of them. He comes back in for Brown. So Brown, who didn't start today, again dealing with that broken nose, has the mask on. 17 minutes, 5 points in his Eagles debut. Hit that 3 early. Davis hits his 2 free throws. He has 7, and the Citadel is back to single digits with 9:18 remaining in this first game of the season. Opening night across college basketball. Donald Hand set up for 3, and he got it! Big shot, Donald Hand. 1 shy of a career high as he gives the Eagles a 12-point lead. Bulldogs will try to answer. Adams, double team, finds the open man, Roberts. His 2 is strong. And McFarland has the rebound. Hand walks into it, and it's in and out. That was halfway down. Oh my, one of the officials fell on the opposite side. Seems to be okay. They play on for Davis. Glover lost the handle. Davis did a good job to find it. 7 to shoot. Roberts against McFarland. Got it up, rolls off. Adams, the offensive rebound, back up, and he got it, and the foul. John Adams with a big bucket, and he is a free throw away from bringing the Citadel within 10.
This 3 by Hand led to a jolt in the crowd. And then how about John Adams, Division III transfer from WPI in Worcester, Mass, averaged a career double-double. And his work ethic, they love his work ethic that allows him to be an interior scoring threat. In that time, there was perseverance.
Look at all these New England connections on this Citadel roster.
To a school in Charleston, South Carolina. Love the connecting the dots, especially with the portal and all the movement.
Adams makes the free throw and will check out. So he has 5 points, and again, it's back to a 9-point game. So the old school way to match the 3-pointer that Hand hit at the other end.
And I know it's opening night, and we've enjoyed watching him play on the Citadel side, but if you're the Citadel, you just survived the non-Brody Fox minutes. For BC, outside of that triple by Hand, they're getting tough looks.
Venning inside is fouled. Takes us to a timeout. 7:42 remaining. BC hanging on to the lead. .42 remaining in this second half. A lot of fouls in this second half. It's been hard for either team to get any kind of flow on the offensive end. But the free throw line has been important, and Venning knocks that one down. So Boston College is 8 of 12 at the line in this second half. The Citadel is 10 for 13. Venning up to 11 points in his Boston College debut. Knew that one was long, but couldn't follow it.
Had 37 total fouls in this basketball game and 17 here in the second half.
Adebisi back in, handoff for Fox. He's been the go-to guy for the Citadel in this second half. Cam Roberts, Fox once more, 6 to shoot. Fox is inside, double teams there, he goes up anyway. Adebisi has another offensive rebound. On a lot of those in the first half, not as many here in the second. Roberts drives, Adebisi off the handoff. Good ball movement here, and Roberts is in and out from 3. They had not taken a 3 in a while. That was, again, it's not for the lack of the looks here for the Citadel. They just have not gone down today. 2 of 21.
You're Ed Conroy. I think you're happy with how your team moved the ball. You looked pretty connected for a bunch of new guys.
And Donald Hand starting to heat up. A new career high for Donald Hand Jr. He has 18 points now, back-to-back threes.
And 13 in the second half. That's his spot. Second time he's drilled one from the right wing.
Previous career high was 16 in Central Connecticut last year. Adebisi against Venning, and he gets by him. That ties his career high, by the way, with 4 points and a quick timeout by the Citadel. 6:12 remaining here in this second half. They're not going away.
No.
11-point game.
Not at all.
Fouls are going to start to become a factor here. This is what Boston College has on their ledger. Strong, Hastings, Brown, and McFarland all with 3 fouls for Boston College. And on the other side, Adams with 4. Glover, Adebisi, McAllister all with 3 as well.
And 2 of those players in foul trouble for Boston College are big. That's why we're getting a lot of Chad Venning. Also something to remind ourselves on night 1 of a long season in college basketball, where's your conditioning at? And you can be in the greatest shape ever when you get into a real game, when you're not just running up and down the floor. There's a lot of contact in this game. There have been a lot of fouls in this game. So that's sort of some wear and tear on your body, especially Venning, who's had to deal with all these drives to the hoop by the Citadel. We'll see when Earl Grant decides when to go back to some of his other bigs here in the final 6 minutes.
11-point game. Hand's been the hot guy right now. That's off the mark. And out of bounds to the Citadel. You certainly don't blame Boston College for going there. I mean, he's been the guy.
No doubt. He's been spry, very energetic, oozing confidence off the dribble. That's a good sign. We've talked about it at the top of the show, right? 88% of your scoring gone. Where are you going to get the production? Well, we've seen in this game little spurts from Strong. Then Venning had a nice run around the basket as a former All-A-10 second teamer. Now you go to Hand. That will make you a tough guard when teams watch you on tape. You know, they got VCU next coming up at the end of the week. Well, who do we stop? Who's their guy? You got a bunch of new guys scoring the basketball for you.
The foul went against Venning, his second. So John Adams at the free throw line, short on that one. So 1 for 2, as he was in the Electoral College.
That's good.
Venning for 3, a little strong.
Is there something going on tomorrow?
That's John Adams.
Yeah, I'll talk to him after the game. Couldn't wait to use that one tonight.
6 to shoot. Kelly turning. Kelly fall away. Well short. Strong at a piece of the rebound. It bounces to Venning, and he finds his way to the bucket. 13 points for Chad Venning. Back to 12. Here's Adams working against Venning again. Adams inside, kicks. 3-pointer, Davis got it. The long-needed 3 for the Citadel. First of the second half again, they are not going away with under 5 to go. Here's Kelly, step back, three-pointer no good. Another offensive rebound. McFarland goes back up, tipped away. And out of BC has it. Gotten it to 9 a few times, have not been closer than that in a while. Out of BC inside against hand, right hand shot no good. Big possession there, it does not go for the Bulldogs as we approach the 4-minute mark on this opening night.
I think Ed Conroy loved that trip offensively. Their ball movement and slashing ability has what's been their ingredients to get back in the game.
Kelly, good take, couldn't finish, out of bounds. And a timeout on the floor. The Citadel is hanging in this game. They were 0 for 8 from 3 in this second half until Kenyon Davis found an opening, and the Citadel is within 9. Game is Donald Hand Jr. He's been excellent this second half.
Having a night, big second half, 13 of his 18 points, a career high in rebounding. He's been everywhere, with the ball, without the ball, the jab step on the right wing, his spot tonight coming off the screen, set the feet, knock it down. You wonder if without him and his production, would the Citadel be even closer?
They're at 9 right now. It'll stay here, 17 to shoot. You mentioned the rebounding, just to wrap that point. His career high in rebounds coming into this game is 6. He has that many in this half and is now 1 rebound away from his first career double-double.
Well, we highlighted the foul trouble with some of the bigs, so where was that production on the glass going to come from? And a few times when he doesn't have the basketball, Hand is showing maturity as a sophomore. Let's go make a play away from the ball.
Davidson gave it up. Might have been one to take to the basket. And BC back on the run. It's Donald Hand all the way. And an offensive foul.
How does the official from that far away make that call?
13, Donald Hand Jr. That's his second personal foul.
It's on the opposite side of the floor.
Let's see. Looks like he got there.
Yeah, he was out of control. That's fair, too.
So another chance here.
It's opening night for the officials.
Adams with a little bit of room, backs into Venning. Adams gives it up. Fox on the drive. Still cycling around. Adabisi for 3. That's a little strong.
Adabisi hesitated there on the catch. It's happened a lot in their three-pointers tonight, I feel like.
Inside for Venning. Foul called before that shot.
Foul on the Citadel, number 25, John Adams. That's his.
And that's the 5th foul on John Adams. So Adams disqualified from this game after a 6-point effort. You mentioned the challenge it was going to be for Adams at 6'8", going up against some of these bigs in Venning and Hastings and Strong inside.
Yeah, I really thought that Shola Adabisi did a good job holding down the fort when they had to take Adams out in the non-Adams minutes. And even Brody Fox at 6'6". Of course, BC's got the size advantage. Strong, 6'8", 235. Venning, 6'9", 270. Even Hastings, 6'9", 240. But the wing size of the Citadel should cause some complications in the SoCon. Picked 9th in that preseason poll, but with this new mix, preseason polls, coaches will tell you they don't really give any credence to them, but even more so now when you don't know how the players fit together in a lot of cases now.
Venning 6 for 10 at the free throw line today. He has 14 points in his Eagles debut. A couple of blocks as well. And he's got 2. So BC trying to close this game out. Citadel trying to stay within contact.
It's a 2-point game if we just talk second half.
That's
28-26
So
BC.
again, it goes back to that last 90 seconds of the first half, right? Difference in this game. Fox gives it off for Glover. Glover against Kelly. Glover tried to go up and under, wasn't there. And the rebound is out of bounds off of Adebisi. Boston College ball with 2:32 to go. Eagles have not made a field goal in nearly 3 minutes, but they've survived at the foul line. Chaz Kelly gives it back for Venning. Nice spin. Venning actually looked like he was almost in too good a position. He probably could have laid that in, instead went with the floater. The Eagles do get an offensive rebound out of it. 14th offensive rebound today, and Hand lost the handle, but the foul. And Hand a little bit slow to get up. Gingerly after the 10th team foul against the Citadel. So both teams in the bonus the rest of the way.
At the line shooting 2 shots for the Eagles.
Ooh, he slipped a bit. Yeah, that left foot.
Checking back into the game for the Bulldogs, Colby McAllister.
Well, Boston College maintained sound defense on the other end. There were another stop or two from getting far enough away where the Citadel is no longer a threat.
"20 points for Donald Hand, 9 for 9 at the foul line. McAllister for 3, well short. Chaz Kelly the rebound, and the Eagles can start to run this out with 100 seconds to go. Venning is blocked by Adebisi.
He's impressive.
Fox the other way, and Fox keeps it interesting. 16 points in his D1 debut for Brody Fox.
How many times do they want us to say they won't go away?
That's right.
It's getting to a point where we just got to stop saying it.
3rd block, by the way, for Adebisi.
He plays bigger than 6'6", 205. Really impressed by Adebisi. We talked about his story, Florida State. Played in 14, 15 games in his first 2 years at Florida State, walking on. It's all about opportunity at this level.
Take a look at what the Citadel has coming up. It's interesting. After today, they won't play another road game until December 16th. So a bunch of games at home. There's a new scheduling alliance between the SoCon and the A-Sun, so that's that Stetson game on the 11th. And for Boston College, you look at what they have on the horizon. VCU, as we said, was picked first in the A-10 preseason poll. And Temple and Loyola before they head to the Cayman Islands Classic, where they'll take on Old Dominion, winner of Missouri State and High Point, and then a 3rd game as well. That High Point team receiving votes in the opening AP poll.
Yeah, Chad Venning going, playing at VCU. That'll be interesting. St. Bonaventure transfer with some familiarity. And you could play that game with every program in the country now based on the transfer portal, which I know, I'm sure every broadcast crew has talked about the portal and all of it at length, but what else are we supposed to talk about?
Well,
now we've got games to sink our teeth into. So it'll slow down.
I mean, you do see in a game like this,
This game, no doubt. You have to talk about it.
And it's, you know, the opportunity for guys like a Brody Fox, who we've talked about a lot. you know, even someone like a Josh Beadle who gets an opportunity coming from Clemson, gets a little bit of a bigger role here at Boston College. Chad Venning with an opportunity to finish off his career somewhere, get a lot of playing time. Trap on for the Citadel with 1:15 remaining. Remember, both teams are in the bonus, so any fouls sends Boston College to the line. BC has gone more than 4 minutes without a field goal, but again, because of their free throw shooting, they've been able to put this game, keep it where it is. Hand is open for three. That's off the mark. That was right at the end of the shot clock. Citadel's got to go quick. Not done yet. Adebisi goes up, gets it, and count the basket and the foul. Shola Adebisi now with 6 points.
Time is not on your side. Remember, Hand's the one who missed the three, so he had to hustle back. Adebisi knows he's got him in a vulnerable position. How can you not, if you're Ed Conroy, not like your pieces?
Yeah. They have hung in and hung in. Well short of the free throw. Now you likely have to foul, right?
Boston College is basically trying to close this game like an NFL team, running the clock out.
That's right. Well, they're letting him at this point. Oh, it's taken away. So they play defense. It works. Fox to the basket, and he makes it. It's a 7-point game. Shot clock is off now, so now you have to foul. And Wally does. 18 points now for Brody Fox. Here's the turnover. We were talking about it. Time going down, time going down. Well, that's why they played defense. Still obviously quite a bit of work to do here with 21.9 seconds remaining. But this is as close as the Citadel has been since the end of the first half. Donald Hand, who's been the guy today, 21 points now. A double-double, first of his career, and most notably, 10 for 10 from the line. 21 points, 10 rebounds.
No other guy you wanted there in that spot at the line.
Back to 9. Gotta get the 3 up, you would think. Taken away by Strong. And that will just about do it. Valiant effort by the Citadel tonight. But Boston College starts its season with a victory. 69-60 the final, and the Eagles 1-0.